The story of Captain Spirit is tragic, so tragic in fact, that he made me believe he had powers multiple times, and I fell for it every time. The story opens with your character Chris the wannabe superhero playing games and fooling you into believing he can move things with his mind. Spoilers: he cannot, but will make you believe he can. If you're me, you will fall for it, because what would a Life of Strange spin-off be without cool powers? Mostly, just life. The story opens with you taking control of the wannabe superhero Chris as he explores his room. But soon his childhood fantasy comes crashing down as reality strikes and Dad calls him for breakfast. What seems like a normal father interaction turns even more normal as you find out Dad's a shitty cook. What a stereotype. Of course, what would a superhero be without a tragic backstory? And we learn that Mom is dead, and Dad has now become shitty, abusive and alcoholic Dad, who still can't cook. We find this out by getting a glimpse of a bruise on Chris's arm, and the dialogue seems to point us to the fact that Dad is an asshole. This is confirmed multiple times, but hey, at least he knows how to play basketball, right? After all, the tragic origin story is complete. Dad continues into his alcoholism while watching basketball, while you are left to your own devices. As someone who never actually does chores, I made Chris do everything, because clearly Dad is a useless fucker, who just wants to watch basketball all day, and relive his glory days. Instead of allowing Chris any type of fun childhood, as the player I make him clean dishes, recycle Dad's beer bottles, and do some laundry. I mean, his life may suck, but at least the house will be clean after all the shit I just made him do. From there Chris can finally have a fun childhood since Dad is now in a beer coma, and the adventures of Captain Spirit begins. Chris must assemble the superheroes and villains throughout the house without having any clues as to where the fuck they are, but at least you get to play with them and blow up a snowman. He must collect his costume without any clues as to where their pieces are. Spoilers: it takes a while, and if you're me, that will be a good portion of wasted recording. Chris will crack codes, play a game as a farting hot dog, fight a water heater monster, who you defeat by simply walking towards it and tapping a few buttons. The best part is though, after all the stress of trying to find your costume, superheroes and villains and crack codes that I could never find the clues for, you can brave your way through a stress-inducing maze that I always get lost in. After all that, you can at least take a cigarette break from all the stress. Yes, you heard me right, Chris can make bad choices and be just like Dad. After a smoke break you can then face your most hated enemy, Metroid, but spoilers: be prepared once again to have your heartstrings severed by Chris's tragic life. As we get to Metroid, and the booming voice, which didn't scare me at all, tries to make Chris feel bad. Chris is made to walk forward towards a street intersection, by me of course, because if I wasn't around, he would just stand there doing nothing. It turns out that Metroid is in fact the combination of the intersection name that Chris's mother was killed at. So pretty much all that work just to find out the intersection name where Mom got killed, and to make Chris's character sink into a deeper depression. No matter the choices you make, or the path you choose, at the end you must wake up Dad, because what could possibly go wrong with waking up a drunk, abusive asshole? If you're smart like me, you will stand around for 30 minutes telling yourself, no game, I will not wake up my abusive father, but then realize it is exactly what you need to do. Your actions make shitty abusive dad trip, because standing up while extremely drunk is a smart idea. Clearly, this is all your fault and not the fact Dad is an alcoholic who is fucking drunk. This results in an angry, hurt Dad, and somehow your neighbor Mrs. Reynolds, the nosy old lady, shows up. Trying to be a good son as the player, I do my best to lie to the nosy old woman, but Chris is a terrible liar and Mrs. Reynolds sees through it. She leaves saying she plans to come back, but never does, because the game doesn't care about Chris, just like his father. The events lead to an altercation between Chris and his dad, and Chris runs outside because he finally realizes life is not strange, but just fucking horrible. Attempting to get up to his treehouse, Chris sadly takes a fall, but not until the game makes me believe he can fucking levitate, only to realize no, he cannot. Chris was in fact saved by the real superhero, who is just using Chris as part of his origin story, and that is where the game ends.